What does the future hold for the Bloodline? Welcome to the WrestleBuddy podcast. I am your host, Andy, joined by my Drip King brother, Jimmy Baby. How we doing, buddy?
Doing great. Getting ready for that War Games tonight.
It should be a good one. Well, Jim, we're going to do something a bit different today, mate. We're going to go through what we think's going to happen with the Bloodline. I think it's something that really does need addressing, especially at the fact of the moment with them announcing Brock Lesnar versus Roman for day one. I don't see them replaying it again at WrestleMania. What about yourself?
We'll see how the Sami Zayn thing turns out. If Sami Zayn gets put in that match like some people were thinking, I think you do see Roman and Brock at WrestleMania again, in which I will be looking to sell my tickets.
Are you going to WrestleMania, are you?
Yeah. My girl bought me tickets for a few weeks ago.
What a girl.
Yep.
I just don't know what they're going to do with them. I mean, realistically, once Brock's out the way, what else is there?
It has to be The Rock. If it's not The Rock, it's busts, honestly. Because where do you go from Brock Lesnar? Each level has been a level up, so that there's nothing after Brock Lesnar unless it is The Rock, which is what everyone has been waiting for a very long time.
Yeah, but we know we're going to get that at Hollywood, don't we? Where I'm going to be attending.
And if that's the case, then they've missed the mark completely. They've stretched it out way too long, and then it's not as good as it should be.
No, I get that, but at the same time, it's kind of what did he do if the hands are tied with this one in the fact of The Rock can't really, do you know what I mean? Can't attend that one. They've got to drag it out, you know.
I get the Hollywood ties to it, but then again, they could always go the John Cena route where it's Roman versus Rock this year, and then you get it again next year.
Yeah, but what I mean is if Rock's not available, that's what I mean. It's like the hands are tied, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been trying to see when the shooting is up because he's been shooting since I think late October. So however long I guess the TV show takes to film depends on it. But
also, what else has he got after that?
I don't know. But I feel like a quick appearance there would be in the books if he was back in the States.
Yeah. I mean, he could appear, and the thing is, I think if the fact is if we get, say, the winner of the Royal Rumble goes against Roman, and then we get the WrestleMania match there, which is probably not the match that people will want to see. You know, as long as WWE build it well, I suppose they can make any match seem legit. And then at the end of that match, and Roman kind of, you know, you could have a celebration with the Bloodline and Roman's I'm the head chief, and then cue The Rock. He doesn't wrestle at this point because obviously he hasn't had the time to train and then he comes out and it's like, hang on, you haven't, because when I ever look at The Rock and I look at this whole scenario with him versus Roman, I always see it as like whenever Roman finally gets to that ultimate boss, or whenever he finishes what he's doing and he kind of sits there and then goes, I'm the best, and then The Rock, that's when The Rock should enter. Camilla J said, Andy and Jimmy are the best team of WrestleBuddy. Yes, we are. Cheers, Camilla. So what's your thoughts on that? Like, you know, as I say, I always feel like it's got to be this kind of, as though Roman thinks he's reached the end, and then in comes The Rock.
Yeah. Then that's kind of the thing with the Brock. What I was bringing up is, again, we both agree that who's bigger than Brock at this point? Who's left? We could say Drew, but I don't think he's bigger than Brock. I think he's just a step under. So The Rock is that guy that comes out and says, kind of like he beat John Cena, and then out comes Brock. So he beats Brock, out comes The Rock. It's the thing that makes sense the most to me. I do understand everything else you're saying, though. But at this point, who do you think is the front runner to take the title off of Roman?
I think Drew.
Okay. So is it plausible to think Drew wins the Royal Rumble again, faces Roman at WrestleMania, and then after he beats Roman for the title, The Rock comes out? You thought you were the head of the family and you did this, set up the match for next year at WrestleMania.
Yes. Yeah, because realistically, that doesn't need to have the title. It doesn't need the title.
It doesn't. It should. Absolutely 100%. we saw that with Rock versus Cena. It was a waste.
Yeah, and also I feel like if The Rock was to come back too early, it wouldn't. There's not enough time to build it, and I think WWE would, they're pretty savvy, and I think if they announce at the current WrestleMania, maybe even night one, they announce that the Rock comes out, he announces he's going to be next year, ticket sales fly up, the whole eyes on the product go up, and you've got a whole year to build. And let's not forget, we've got the people go on about the motivation for The Rock to come back. His daughter's in NXT at present.
Yeah.
Get her involved in the storyline, because it's sort of, it's the bloodline. It's all about the bloodline, about the family. We could use Simone in this. We could, for the times The Rock can't appear, we can still keep him relevant by using his daughter in the storylines. We've got another young Uso that's in NXT as well. There's a lot of possibilities, and I think, let's face it, The Rock doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the promotion. He doesn't need that. If anything, he's on par with WWE in terms of promotion and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more of a thank you, giving back type thing. It's
a thank you and give back to the fans, but also if he can give his daughter a touch, then what father wouldn't?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I'm just curious how far along she is.
I don't think because she had that operation on her knees, didn't she? And obviously she hasn't appeared on NXT yet. Yeah. But if she, we see her quite soon, and realistically, again, do we need to see her in the ring? Does she need to be in the ring, or does she, and realistically, they have a promo stage, don't they, at the Performance Center and stuff? They could look at something like that. Wolverine Gaming 216. Hi mate, how we doing?
What's up?
So, what's your thoughts? What would you look to do?
I don't know, because at this point, I think I've supported the whole storyline up until very recently, just because I think they've rushed some things, and I don't know if that's hot shot booking that people call it, or I don't know, but it seems like they did start to rush a little bit, and now they've kind of booked themselves into a corner to where they're either going to have to do one of those year-long things where Rock videos every once in a while. Maybe they do bring his daughter into it. Maybe that would be a thing to encourage The Rock to do this to begin with. I don't know how they go about it at this point, because it just seems like they've run out of ideas. They've hit a wall.
I mean, the good thing about it is, and let's not forget here, Paul Heyman was on Eliane Hawani show the other week, and he did state about how he turned around and stated, yeah, Joe, you're gay. He turned around and said that he has a lot of creative control with Roman on this character. So, as much as saying they've ran out of ideas here, do you not think Paul's probably got something up his sleeve alongside Roman to keep this going?
Maybe not. I mean, as creative as a genius as Paul Heyman is, he does have his misses. I think people like to forget some of the misses he's had. So,
yeah, but sometimes let's not forget, when he's had some of these misses, he's been multiple spinning plates. This time with this whole storyline and everything else, he's been very focused on the one thing.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt here. I think they can make it work. I just, from a person who does a lot of speculating on where they're going with things, I'm drawing a complete blank as to where they can go with this past WrestleMania. I just don't know what else they can do.
I mean, the other thing you could do is maybe at WrestleMania, you could obviously have a screw finish of some sort at day one. You could have Brock versus Roman again at WrestleMania, which I know the fans probably potentially won't like. I understand that. But then if The Rock comes out and costs Roman the title, all will be forgiven. And that's the way WWE's mindset is sometimes. They will do the crappy stuff to get to where they... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But do you think they do it with Brock or Drew? Like, I don't think Rock helping Brock makes too much sense. I think maybe him coming out, stopping the Usos, costing Roman against Drew makes a little more sense. But as I continuously said, if Roman's losing that title, it needs to be to someone to make a star, not to puts to, I guess, justify a star they think they have. And that's not a knock on Drew, but I don't think you can force people to think that he's on Roman's level. I think that has to happen. And if they do that at WrestleMania, I think that's what happens.
Yeah.
I think you're forcing it a little bit.
That's not a bad shout, Alex. You know, Lashley could cost Lesnar, and we'll see the dream match Lashley as in Mania. It'd be good. I tell you what else would be a really good one. It probably won't happen because it's WWE, but if you got Simone Johnson into a bit of interviewing and stuff, and you had to try to interview Roman, and he just kind of turned around and slated it, or turned his nose and walked away. Yeah. Or you could have a chasing Paul Heyman, and Paul could be giving it a thing, and that's the motivation for The Rock to come back, and, you know, how dare you, that's my family, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah. They could, there's ways, I guess. I guess thought too much into it because...
No. Yeah. But as fans, we are thinking into this Bloodline storyline. But one thing that I will say is WWE haven't, right? And what I mean by that is, it always seems to be that, like, Roman's going against Jimmy or Jay, or he's punishing the Usos or whatever he was doing, and then the credible threat comes by for his title, and the whole Bloodline and the whole family is, okay, well, I'll deal with you later, I've got to focus on this now. And then it's, we haven't really heard much about the whole Bloodline and the whole storyline of that dynamic of it for a while, because he's been focused too much on the next. It was the same with Cena. We had all this Bloodline stuff, and then it was Cena, and it seems like now we've got Brock. So is there another dynamic that we can go back to in that Bloodline storyline after he deals with Brock at A1?
I don't see it. I just don't. I know for a while the thought was with Jimmy coming back when he was being hesitant to join, there was the possibility of him never joining, or maybe he joins and then ends up leaving, they kick him out, and then you get The Rock and Jimmy Uso versus Roman and Jey Uso, which would help Rock ease into things since he probably won't be in top shape. But, I mean, they would have to really make that interesting to sell that. And again, you have either a really short time to build something like that, or you have a whole year to stretch something like that out. It goes back to, I think they've hit a wall, and they have to really pull something out of their ass to make this last through Hollywood.
But don't forget, we've got a little ace in the hole with the young Uso in NXT as well. Could there be a storyline here where Brock goes, let's talk about this, right? It's not going to happen, but big picture scenario, little Usos on NXT one week, next minute lights go out, here comes the tribal chief.
Yeah.
Let's have a look what you can do, kid. And then he's like, no, I'm all right here, I don't want to go with you. He starts bullying the young Uso, starts bullying him, creates dissension within the bloodline, and, there's a big story to tell there then, isn't there?
Yeah. The only problem I would have with that is throwing someone young into the deep waters that soon. I think that for story purposes, I get it 100%. It could help tell.
But also, because it is his family, he's not going to be in a position where, like a Dean Douglas or something where, your opponent doesn't want to do the job for you or doesn't want to think. He could learn really, really well, because he could still go to the Performance Centre and whatnot. But he's also going to be learning off the top talent who are his family that are going to be invested in making sure they help him become the best that he can. So, would that not be a really good kind of experience for him and really elevate him to what he needs to do?
It could be a great experience. I think it's the sink or swim scenario. You're going to
but at the same time, it's like sink or swim with your father there. Or, like when you're a kid and your dad throws you in the swimming pool, he's throwing you in there to make you sink or swim, but he's still standing there to pull you out if needed.
But I think fan reaction plays a lot more today than it did back when back in its heyday when we were loving wrestling at its high point. And I think if you do something like that, you risk the chance of where does he go? Where does Solo Sikoa go after something like that? He debuts, he's main event scenario, and then where does he go? Do you just keep him built up as this top guy and just have him basically skip over the build through mid card and all that other stuff?
But you could.
Go ahead.
But if you bring him into the bloodline and eventually he caves in and he becomes part of the bloodline, then he becomes the X-Pac of the bloodline, doesn't he?
I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's a bad idea, though. Yeah, that
because
be better, I think, than having him go toe to toe with them, like resisting and doing that role. I don't think that helps him at all. I think it's actually harm him in the long run.
But would it? Because if he's getting he's getting beat up week on week by Roman, acknowledge me. Then the Jimmy and Jay are seeing the brother happen there, and they're like, please just go with us. And there's you know what I mean? There's a bit of dissension there, and in the end he toes the line. But then he joins the bloodline. One, by him getting one thing Bruce Pritchard always says, and he says it really, really well, is before you can become a good wrestler, show me how you sell, show me how you get somebody over.
Yeah.
And by him working with Roman and Roman just pummeling him every week, to us it might look like a bad thing, but realistically, it's giving him some good, really, because he's going to be getting feedback off Roman, Heyman, this is what you need to do, sell this more, do this more, and he's going to get that real experience there, and then eventually he'll slide into the bloodline, and there's another dynamic to that story then where you could put him in some matches with people, but he doesn't have to hold his own because he's part of this bigger storyline,
Yeah, light bulb, boom, idea. Piggybacking off what you just said, do you think with that scenario where they're beating him up weekly, hey, you need to learn your lesson, you see the Usos kind of like with the, hey, let's chill. They turn on Roman, but Roman still just bullies them to the point where they say, we got you, and then that's how you bring The Rock in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the other way you could go about it, where in the end Rikishi comes back, and it's kind of like, what are you doing to me, son? And
that'd be a good filler. That would help fill out the long...
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And then there's another thing. I mean, realistically though, what you've got to remember is, I believe once we don't need to fill a year long, because the year will fill itself with the Rock storyline. Roman can have as many different opponents as he wants throughout that year.
Who? That's my whole problem with the year long thing, is who at this point, because as we've seen, they haven't really built up any main event guys.
Yeah, but
I think Sami Zayn could have been there, but they seem to have fumbled it. You have Jeff Hardy, you have Drew McIntyre. Nothing.
Well, Drew could do that there, couldn't he? You've probably got Bron Breakker who could probably come up and have a go if he really wanted to. There's probably some other people. Von Wagner is thereabouts that could probably get brought into this a little bit, maybe. If you're looking for fresh meat. There
are people. It's just a matter of them not.
Let's not forget we're going to get an Arcade Bro split. We'll probably get them wrestling at WrestleMania versus each other. So then that frees up Randy and Riddle to go into.
The draft is in September or October. I think it's October.
Yeah, but let's face it, WWE can change things whenever they want.
Yeah, they can, but you don't really ever see them changing main event guys throughout the thing. It's usually just like the low tier mid card people at the highest. So, again, I'm just looking at the card, and even if they did build certain people up, I just don't see many people on SmackDown that could fill in those months until you at least got to the draft to where Roman was able to stay interested.
See, this is the thing as well, though. Does Roman need anybody to challenge him, or does he just need to keep on squashing everybody?
No. I think the people are really kind of getting tired of that shtick. So... I think he does need challenge. And I'm not saying there's not challengers, because if they were booked right, yes, there could be more. But with certain people, we've already seen that they're not willing to book them to an extent to make them credible. Because you have Shinsuke Nakamura just sitting there, who could be a great opponent for Roman, but they just don't ever know what to do with.
But the thing is, could they just use him as, when the backs are up against the wall, they potentially could start delivering people like that?
Yeah, but... is there interest in it? Because who's going to believe that they're going to just bring Shinsuke up? And that part of it's the believability. Because Roman has had matches with people where you don't believe the opponent's going to win, like Jey Uso Case in point, there was no way we were thinking Jey Uso was going to win, but Roman was able to tell a good story with it. How long can he keep that up with these opponents before it's like, okay, this really is kind of getting old?
Okay, one thing I will say to you with WWE and the Machine, when the Machine gets behind somebody, they can get anybody over. And my prime example to that is Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley was in a stupid storyline with Lana as his jealous wife, whatever, and Liv Morgan got involved and all this palaver, and it was nothing. And within a matter of 3 or 4 weeks, he was a credible world champion.
But it took him a while to get to that area, though. Like,
yeah, but what I mean is they spinned it so fast, and they got him in the hair business, and they got all this going, and so when they want to, they can do it.
Yeah. But with the people that are on SmackDown, I just don't think there's anybody that they've proven that they'll do it with. Like Bobby Lashley, you look at him, and I feel like they tried real hard to get him over as a babyface, and everything they did was just a flop. The first thing they did with a heel just worked for him, and it got him over. So I think, yes, they can get people over, but with the options they have, they've never been able to do it before. Because they tried with Shinsuke once, and it didn't work. And then
Woods, did you see Woods getting a go?
Who?
Woods.
I want that.
Yeah.
But I feel like watching his match on SmackDown, I think the crowd was a little flat for him. So I think that hurts him. I think they would have to do a lot of work to build him.
Yeah.
Build him up.
Let's not forget, we've got 4 months, and the thing is, real, look at Drew McIntyre as well when he won the. When he won the
title.
Royal Rumble,
he
was nowhere on the card. He was Shane McMahon's henchman for a bit, and again a Royal Rumble win, bang, we're at the races. So the Royal Rumble win can really, really push somebody.
I think Drew was kind of teetering at that area though, because he was with Shane as his henchman for a minute, but then there was about that month period where Drew was kind of just doing the badass ass kicker thing and kind of making himself believable again. And then the Royal Rumble, it was just kind of like a perfect storm scenario where Drew was clicking, the Royal Rumble happened. I don't think you can just do that with any of the people on SmackDown's roster at this point. Drew's the only one, and I don't want to see him win the Royal Rumble because he just won it 2 years ago.
Do we see Cesaro making another run at it?
It doesn't look like it. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it.
And I tell you what, nobody's mentioning, and it would be awesome. It's probably never going to happen, but just picture the scene. Roman's in the ring. There's nobody out there who's credible to me. Next minute, lights go dim. Walter.
I see a lot of people wanting that since the rumors are up, but I don't want Walter being thrown into that right away.
Why not, though? Because he gets thrown on the toes with him and he does a great... I seen him versus Cesaro, mate, and he looks...
He's fantastic. He's fantastic, but I don't want it to be okay, you've reached the top. The only place for him to go is down at this point. I'd like him to be built up over the course of a few months, just going out there and just doing what he does, hurting people. That way... Because as there's people out there who know Walter is, but then there's those casual fans who are going to see him and be like, who's this guy?
Yeah. I mean, don't forget as well, you've got Shanky.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not going to even try and joke with that one.
There's Sheamus too. I forgot Sheamus. You could somehow get Sheamus in there. That would be a great
Rick Boogs.
Nah.
No. And I'll tell you who else we haven't seen for a long, long time, and there's obviously, I know they're looking to repackage him, is Elias.
Yeah, did you hear I guess his thought was to come back looking like Macho Man, and they said, nope. So now they don't know what to do. That's the rumor. You know how those are.
But another thing is the fact is he didn't get included in the draft or nothing, so he's an easy one to plop in if you needed to.
It'd be cool if they did, because I feel like they've missed the opportunity on him multiple times.
Yeah, he was awesome, wasn't he?
He could have been a cash cow, but
for
whatever reason he's just one of the people I talk about where they could get behind him, they just don't for whatever reason, and they miss chances.
Yeah. I mean, it's just interesting, isn't it, to see how it's all gonna turn out in the end, because there is possibilities there, but it's kind of a WWE lazy ass booking going to come into it, or is it going to actually do something with somebody? I mean, the one thing we have got this time on our side, because as of day one, we've got 4 months till WrestleMania, so there's a lot of build time there. I'd say I don't see it being The Rock, because I feel like WWE would not waste that opportunity for the publicity to make it last over that year. They would get a lot more out of it in their terms. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying The Rock wouldn't appear at WrestleMania, but you know,
I think they would have done it before the tickets go on sale. That way they could do a 20-minute sellout thing. They could be like, yeah, night one sold out 20 minutes. Because they love saying things like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And I think just with The Rock and the whole, as soon as it's mentioned like that, it's like you're talking CNN, Fox, everyone just picks that story and runs. And so I don't see that being the case. But so, as I say, we've got 4 months to go. There's a lot that comes up in that period of time, and it'll be interesting to see which way they go with it. Any other final words from you, Jim?
Man, I don't want it to be Drew, but it's going to be Drew. I'm bummed, man. I wanted, yeah. It's crazy how this went from being like the greatest thing just literally 2 months ago. The Bloodline thing was just fantastic, and now it's become a.
Where do you think they've gone wrong?
I think doing the thing with Brock too soon. I think they should have held off Brock until 2022. That way, if he is the WrestleMania main event, it hasn't played out twice already before. Because we saw it at Crown Jewel, we're going to see it at day one.
Yeah.
If we see it at WrestleMania,
do you feel at WrestleMania as well? At Survivor Series, they should have done the Bloodline versus the New Day, and then done Big E versus Roman at day one or somewhere else.
Yeah, because you got the New Day taking on the Usos at day one. So I mean, you could have just stretched that out until day one when they're having their. It made sense. I don't know why they didn't go that route, especially with Xavier as the new King of the Ring getting punked out as fast as he did in Survivor Series.
Yeah, I think be fair, it was probably a lot of it was down to because the lost the pot shotted it, didn't they, on Raw? Let's face it, they pot shotted that match on Raw as a reaction to CM Punk debut.
But yeah, they did. But again, as I mentioned before, they left it completely open-ended. We didn't get a long match there. It was a one-segment thing. It ended in a DQ, and then it could have easily been just revisited, and it would have been still new and fresh because we didn't really see it on Raw. We just saw like a little teaser of it. And again, it would have just helped with day one because you're getting Usos New Day. So that could have just played off of that. And then, I think they messed up there.
Yeah. Well, as I say, I'm sure time will tell, guys. Let us know in the comments section what you think about what's next for Roman and how they're going to book this. What you see for the next from now till WrestleMania. What you see for Roman in his future. Be interesting to hear all your thoughts and things. But Jimmy, thanks very much, my man.
Yeah, man. And I also want to point out, I said Brock and Bobby was happening months ago at WrestleMania. It's happening still. Alex told you how. Boom. I'm taking credit for that one.
Guys, make sure that you do check out. We are going live in about 15-20 minutes time with the WrestleBuddy quiz show, Quiz Buddies. So make sure you do join us in the chat for that. Always a fun show, always good to play along. And also, if you're not about tonight and you can't watch War Games, make sure you do check out WrestleBuddy website for live reactions and results on NXT War Games. But from me and Jimmy, until next time, guys, take care. See you soon.
Bye.